This is the new Vapor 16 Elite, and it is a lot different from the Vapor 15. It's been 2 years since Nike officially released a pair of mercurial Vapors, and although the last couple months have been some leaks, a few pros wearing them, they released yesterday, July 3rd, and I even drove an hour and a half to a soccer store so I could get these immediately. Now, what's interesting about this pack is it's called the Blueprint pack. So this is the first official colorway. Sometimes Nike does this where they'll kind of drop a more limited edition pair. If you think back to the Vapor 15, it was the all white with the red Air logo all over it and the red swoosh, a pretty cool pair of boots. And there's a lot of really interesting details to this boot, just aesthetically. If you look all around, a lot of this stuff is looks like it's hand drawn. So you've got the Nike Gripknit on the side, on the back or the heel, you've got mercurial. And there's just all sorts of cool little details on this boot. Like it was kind of hand drawn on a blueprint and then put onto a boot before it was officially changed to, you know, all conforming letters and a lot more crisp and clean like we normally see on boots. On the insole, it's pretty cool. It says Bowerman, and Bowerman was one of the original founders of Nike. I don't know if he was the official founder, but from what I remember, he's definitely one of the main names. And then underneath it, you have prototype, and that's basically kind of just reinforcing that, hey, these are some prototype boots. Well, prototype, if we do want to call them that. Obviously, this is the new Vapor, and there's a lot more changes this time around than there was from the 14 to the 15. On the Vapor 15, we had Vaporposit Plus, which was the kind of Nike skin coating. That is now gone. We have Gripknit now. Gripknit is now on the Vapor, the Phantom, and the Luna. I'm assuming it's going to go on the Tiempo if they don't go back to K-Leather, which hopefully they do. And it pretty much coats the entire upper of the boot anywhere you're going to strike the ball, which is pretty much what you want Gripknit to do. At first glance and kind of feeling these boots, I only wore them for 30 minutes when I did this little session in them just to kind of get an idea on how they are. This Gripknit is definitely thinner than the Phantom GX, and I did not wear the Luna, but the Luna and the GX have the same kind of consistency and thickness, so it's a lot thinner, and I believe Nike is claiming this is their thinnest Vapor yet, and potentially even their thinnest boot so far. I didn't really get to test this Gripknit yet. I didn't have a goal to shoot at or really anywhere or anyone to kick the ball to, so I'm going to do a more full in-depth review on how this boot performs in the next couple weeks so you guys get a better idea. The one-piece knit upper is different now as well. It is called Atomknit. It's no longer a traditional, just regular knit that Nike has, and it's a lot thinner. Like I said, Nike's claiming this to be their thinnest boot yet, and with this upper, you can really tell when you're getting touches on the ball or kind of receiving, anything like that. It's really thin, and I think their goal is to really connect you to the boot. I don't know if going thinner is necessarily the best way to do that, but it definitely is noticeable, and I can't really comment if that's a good thing or a bad thing yet. So stay tuned. We have a cool new Soleplate as well. It's got this really nice orange tint to it. I don't know the name of it. I haven't really watched any videos to see what it's called, but on Nike's website, they mentioned that it was wave-like. So I'm assuming they're just saying it's supposed to help grip more. The back studs look just exactly like the Vapor 15 and Superfly 9 did, maybe just pushed in slightly, but it's basically the same in the back. And the front is kind of chevron studs. They're taking on a little bit of different shapes than we've seen in the past, but for the most part, it's more of a traditional sole plate. I pulled open my laptop to read right from Nike's website to you guys, but basically it says fast traction for the little section on the sole plate, and I don't know if that's the fast traction sole plate or what, but it also states that the biggest stud is the same height as our traditional middle studs, so traction is not compromised. Now, I don't know if they're talking about the outer studs, if they're talking about the usual midfoot stud that a lot of boots have. I can't really tell, but all the outer, like traditional 6 studs are about the same length, and the middle studs are definitely shorter. So I don't know what they're talking about there. I don't know if I'm just misinterpreting that, but it just kind of seems like useless information. I'd rather know other things about the sole plate, but it's just what Nike's given us on their website. The only thing that is the same on this boot is the air zoom unit, and it's the exact same shape, so I'm assuming they built this boot around the air zoom unit again. And you know, I'm not a fan of the air zoom unit. I've been, you know, just really against it just because I don't like that feeling. Wearing these boots, I couldn't really notice it. So just for those 30 minutes, I was just kind of getting some touches, goofing around with the ball in these. You know, I didn't really feel that air zoom unit as much, so I'm okay with that. It was also a much more spongier grass field, so I'm decently taking care of grass field, so there's not as much feedback as you would get on like a turf field, but yeah, it is what it is. So if you like the air zoom unit, I'm assuming you're gonna like it just as much in the Vapor 16. So putting the boots on is actually one of the best things about these boots. It feels a lot more broken in with this Gripknit upper, and I believe that's because it's just so thin. There's not a lot of material to really keep the boot firm. That's a problem I had with the Vapor 15s, is they felt very, very stiff. These do not feel stiff, but they also feel like they fit really loose, and there's not a lot of really like lockdown on this boot. You can see here, just even when I bend the boot, I mean, the lighting's not the greatest, but there's a lot of this just dead space and extra kind of like crumpling, I guess, of the upper. And I even got it down lower here, and you'll get some better close-ups, but right here around the laces. And I just don't really like that from boots, and it could be because my foot's slightly smaller than a 9, but wider than an 8.5, so I need to get a 9. But you know, there wasn't really a lot of extra room in the toe either way, so I just wasn't really a fan of that. That also led to a lot of my foot kind of rolling around in the boot. Now, I was wearing Nike grip socks, which I wouldn't really classify as grip socks, but I kind of just wore them to kind of match the brand a little bit, I guess. And I just felt my foot just kind of rolling and sliding around. I could feel a lot of stud pressure. It felt like my foot wasn't very locked down in these. Now, again, I didn't have the boots tighten super crazy, but I never really do that in general. I like my boots tight, but not crazy tight because they don't have any lockdown. So that was something I really wasn't impressed by as well. Again, I didn't really get to test the Gripknit as well, but I don't think this is as good as the Gripknit that's on the GX2. It is thinner, and for some reason, the thinner Gripknit does not feel as nice as the thicker Gripknit on the GX2. So we'll have to see. That's yet to be seen. Like I said, I'm gonna do a lot more in-depth, just kind of testing with these and then do a better review on them. But you know, the last thing I do want to hit on is the heel cup. It's a lot less solid than normal, which I think is okay. You've got a lot more give down here, which is something the Vapor 16 did not have. The stiffest part was that heel cup area, and it is fairly firm when you get lower, but the rest of the boot, I mean, like I said, you can bend it right here just fine. It's got a lot more cushioning than the Vapor 15 as well, which is always good. You want that extra cushion on the back of your heel. And you know, 30 minutes in, I didn't have any rubbing on the back of my heels or Achilles. So probably gonna be different for you guys because I feel like I just don't get blisters anymore. But you know, overall that heel area was decent. So overall, not really impressed by these boots, which I think a lot of people are going to be against me on that. From what I've seen, a lot of people are really loving these so far. I don't really think they're best for wide feet. It's yet to be seen. And I feel like I can't really make a large opinion on these or any sort of real crazy statements because I just don't have the experience in them yet. But I am going to be using these a lot over the next 2 weeks, and I am excited to test them because they are the new Vapor, but so far just not impressed. Hopefully they will do me a lot better than this first session did. So it's gonna be interesting. Let me know down below what your guys' thoughts are on these. I know a lot of people have gotten these before release. They were popping up all over in random stores and Dick's Sporting Goods and all sorts of stuff. So if you have these, please let me know your thoughts on them. I'm curious to see what you guys think and if I'm just being really out of pocket here like I sometimes am with my opinions on boots. So that is all for today. Look out in the next few weeks for my full review on these. And with that, I will catch you guys in the next review.